It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Shadia Garrison. Shadia is pursuing a master's in environmental policy and planning at Tufts University with a focus on the circular economy. Shadia has been an absolute joy to work with this summer. To everything she does, Shadia brings her sharp intelligence, her unwavering dedication, and her warm smile. She has not shied away from asking tough questions and has even stumped us a few times, which has been productive and good and humbling. This is all to say that while we at Data for Progress hope that Shadia has learned from her experience working with us this summer, I can confidently say that we have learned immeasurably from her and are just extremely, extremely grateful to all of the work that she's put in. With that, I will turn it over to Shadia.
Perfect, thank you. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so I just want to thank Selena for that wonderful introduction. As she said, I'm Shadia Garrison, and I had the wonderful opportunity this summer to work with Data for Progress, which is a progressive think tank and polling firm, sorry. So before I get started, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the UNH team, especially Jen and Tom, and then also the DFP policy team for all their help, support, and cheering on during this process, especially Julie and Selena, who are my mentors, and Catherine, who work with me to enact a progressive vision for direct air capture, which we call DAC hubs in the US, and also my parents, because they're on this call. So how does one enact a progressive and equitable vision for DAC hubs across the United States? Through community engagement and community benefits agreement. Historically, big developments such as DAC hubs are forced upon communities with high population of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, as well as populations of low income standing without their knowledge. DFP is hoping to set a new precedent by conducting community workshops to inform and provide communities with the potential of becoming direct air capture hubs with the tools needed for their community, such as understanding the advantages of community benefits agreement. So community benefits agreement are a legally binding document that a community coalition and a developer sign and say, if we allow you to build X amount of things, you will provide certain benefits to our community. So you can ask for things as hiring X percentage of local workers, then also a living wage. And then also like we have these development, community development opportunities that there are no funding for. We want you to fund that for us. So on the left, you'll see like a small direct air capture hub, and that's just like shaking a hand with the CBA of all the developer in the community. So we can go to the next slide. So how did we do this? Well, first we had to get me up to speed about direct air capture and carbon dioxide removal. So I conducted a literature review of those materials and then also some about community engagement. Because I took a class, I learned about community engagement, but you don't know about community engagement until you're actually in the community. So we actually also did informational interviews with a lot of professionals, my professors who are luckily one did a CBA 2 years ago, so it was fresh information. And we also did academics and then local community organizers. So we asked them for a bunch of information, and based on that, we started planning. So during our planning phase, we kind of decided on the 2 cities that we're going to focus on, which is East Houston, Texas, and then Beaver County, PA, because they both have very different needs, but they both are high potential for having these hubs. So once we started doing that, we started to actually talk to more local organizers and just like, how do you engage with your community? And they're just like, this is what you do in our community, this is what you don't do. Because of course, as an outsider, you definitely want to make sure you know how to come correct to these communities. And then the third phase is actually executing the workshops, which our first one is actually Saturday. So we all fly out tomorrow to go. So we're super excited. Next slide, please. So what's next for DFP after these community workshops? Well, DFP is hoping, well, this is the first of many community engagement opportunities for DFP. They've been doing a lot of polling work for over a couple of years, but now they're looking to do more direct community engagement. And this is just step one of many, hopefully. So I'm currently writing a how-to guide. And if you can see, I took one of Selena's old policy memos and just wrote my title into it because I'm in the process of writing it right now. So it's just going to have a list of best practices and just like challenges that we overcome during this process. And in the middle, it's like to tackle equity change with to tackle climate change with equity at its center, which is what Data for Progress is hoping to do, which should be kind of easy with all the good bills we've had lately. So we know this past weekend the inflation bill was signed, and then last year the infrastructure bill. So they'll have plenty opportunities to actually engage community within the climate innovation space, and I'm really excited to see what they'll do in the future with that. Thank you.